4 feelings that you can't explain. Have you ever felt something that you couldn't quite put into words? Not happiness, not sadness, not fear, just something. Maybe you've stared out a car window at night and felt strangely emotional for no reason. Maybe you've walked through an empty school building and felt unsettled, even though nothing was wrong. Or maybe you looked at a stranger and suddenly realized that they have an entire life you'll never know. What's fascinating is that many of these feelings actually have names. They're not mental disorders or psychological conditions. They're experiences that reveal how your brain tries to make sense of the world around you. Number 1, sonder. Imagine you're sitting in a restaurant. You're waiting for your food when you look around the room. You see a family laughing together, a couple having a quiet conversation, someone sitting alone scrolling through their phone. Normally, your brain barely notices them, but then something changes. You suddenly realize that every single person in that room has their own life. This feeling is called sonder, the realization that every person around you is living a life just as complex, emotional, and detailed as your own. What's happening in your brain? Humans naturally think of themselves as the center of their own story. Psychologists call this the egocentric perspective. Your brain is designed to prioritize your experiences because that's the information most important to your survival. But during moments of sonder, your brain suddenly activates something called theory of mind. This is your ability to imagine what other people are thinking and feeling. For a brief moment, your brain expands beyond your own perspective and attempts to comprehend hundreds of other lives at once. That's why sonder can feel overwhelming. You're essentially realizing that every stranger is a universe you'll never fully understand. And strangely enough, that realization often makes people more connected to humanity. Number 2, lachesism. Imagine this. Every day feels exactly the same. Wake up, go to school, do homework, sleep, repeat. Weeks pass. Months pass. Nothing changes. Then one day, you find yourself wishing something dramatic would happen. Not something terrible, just something big. Something that would completely shake up your life. This feeling is called lachesism, the desire for a major event to break the monotony of everyday life. Why does this happen? Your brain loves novelty. New experiences trigger dopamine pathways associated with curiosity and motivation. When life becomes extremely predictable, those systems become less active. This doesn't mean you're unhappy. It means your brain is craving stimulation, adventure, growth, something unexpected. Lachesism is often misunderstood. It's not about wanting disaster. It's about wanting transformation. It's the feeling that somewhere deep inside, you're ready for the next chapter, even if you don't know what it looks like yet. Number 3, kenopsia. Think about your school. Now imagine being there at 2 a.m. The same hallways, the same classrooms, the same lockers, nothing has changed. Yet somehow, it feels completely different, almost eerie, almost haunted. Not because you're scared, but because something feels missing. This feeling is called kenopsia. The strange atmosphere of a place that's usually full of people, but is now empty. What's happening in your brain? Your brain doesn't just memorize locations. It memorizes patterns. When you think of school, your brain expects noise, movement, conversations, people. When those expected elements disappear, your brain notices the mismatch. Psychologists call this a prediction error. Your brain predicted one thing, but received another. This creates a feeling of unease because the environment no longer matches your expectations. Kenopsia reminds us of something surprising. Places aren't just buildings, they're experiences. And without people, many places lose part of their identity. Number 4, anemoia. Have you ever watched old videos from the 1980s? Or looked at photos from decades ago? Maybe you've seen people driving old cars, listening to records, or hanging out without smartphones. And somehow, you miss it, even though you were never there. This feeling is called anemoia, nostalgia for a time you've never experienced. At first glance, it doesn't make sense. How can you miss something you never had? The answer lies in how your brain builds stories. Your mind constantly imagines alternate versions of reality. When you see old photos, your brain fills in the gaps. It creates an idealized version of the past, a world that feels simpler, more meaningful, more connected. The reality may have been completely different, but that's not what matters. Your brain isn't longing for history. It's longing for the emotions it associates with that imagined history. Anemoia reveals something important. Sometimes we aren't nostalgic for the past. We're nostalgic for a feeling. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I want to grow this channel to at least 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2026, but we'll see what happens.